Hi, I'm Bryony Kennedy, and today I'm going to show you one of my favorite event makeup looks. Of course, I vary this sometimes with the different shades for my eyes, but ultimately this is my go-to technique because it's so easy and it's quite simple and it does suit most eye shapes. So if you are looking at doing this for your particular event that you've got coming up, what I recommend is that you practice this every day, even if you've got nowhere to go, because if you just try and do this before you go out the door to an event and you're not makeup savvy, of course you're going to struggle. So my advice to you is take this along into your bathroom, maybe pop me on your phone, follow these step by step and do them for a few days. So I will take a little bit of time taking you through the steps. You may want to speed up the bits that you do know, maybe slow down the areas that you don't know, but ultimately this particular look might take the average person anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes to do. Now that's not including your skin prep, it really is just dependent on what you're prepared to do. You might want to take out doing the eyes and just focus on this lip. So there's always bits from my tutorials that you can pull from that you would like to do and other areas that you might like to leave be. So all good makeup starts with good skincare and good preparation of your skin. So what I do recommend is using the rosewater spritzer first to super hydrate the skin. I am then going to apply the primer, and of course I am going to then use one of the antioxidant oils, and that's the day oil that I'm going to use. My skin's a little bit dehydrated. I do prefer more of a dewy appearance or more of a radiant appearance. So if you're someone that prefers more of a matte finish, then you might want to just skip the oil. You might just want to apply the primer moisturizer. If you are also using, say, the loose minerals, you might like to use definitely the combination of the two together. If you, however, are using the cream stick, you might find, again, the primer is enough. So again, preparing the skin is absolutely imperative so that your makeup looks awesome. All right, so let's get started. Popping a bit of the primer on. A little bit of the oil. Again, if you're going to use the oil, don't pop that around your eyes, because if you really struggle with eye makeup staying put, you really want to keep the eye area as dry as possible. You may even like to avoid putting your primer around your eyes as well. So if in the past eyeliner or eyeshadow does not stay for you, the day that you're doing your event makeup, just moisturize around the face, but avoid your eye area, and I can promise you that your makeup will last a lot longer. All right, the other thing that I absolutely love to do, and I think it makes a massive difference, and that is using the balm for your lips. So whether you're wanting to use the soothing barrier balm for your lips or for any other area of the body, or you might even like to use the vanilla lip balm, it's important to get your lips really hydrated, because there's nothing worse than seeing flaky, dry skin through your lipstick. So if you pop that on at the beginning, it gives your lips ample time whilst you're doing the rest of your makeup to soak in all those amazing ingredients and get those lips looking beautiful, plump and hydrated before you put your lippy on. Okay, so let's get started with the fun stuff. When I'm doing an event makeup, I kind of like to do my illuminizer or a liquid illuminizer first, and then I come back to doing my eyes, and then I finish off my foundation and blushes and bronzers, etc. The reason for that is that if I get any fallout from my eye makeup onto the under eye area or onto my cheeks, it's easily wiped away. If I've already spent all that time putting my foundation on and then I get all of that fallout, then I'm gonna have to wipe it away, start again, and it's wasting time. So if you're really not great at your eyes, or you're wanting to use eyeshadow and you're going a little bit heavier than normal, definitely do your foundation and your skin last. Do your eyes first. So that being said, let's get started with the eyebrows. So I'm going to use the brush comb, And the reason I always comb my brows is to separate the brow hairs so that your brow dust will adhere to the skin rather than stick onto the hairs. It will last longer, and of course it will be able to be more sweat resistant. So the color that I'm using today is the medium Peggy. So it's a taupe sort of a color. It suits most people. And if you want more information on how to apply really awesome shaped brows, and you can head to one of the single tutorials about that. So I'm using the angle brush, and then I'm going to get started on doing my brows. Now, if you would like a little bit more definition with your brows, you can definitely apply the brow dust with a wet angle brush. That's going to give much more intensity, or of course use the brow dust dry. I also like to finish my brows by combing the brow dust through, because that then separates the brow dust and also makes it look more hair-like. Perfect. Okay, so heading straight to the eyes, I'm going to leave these beautiful looking bags I've collected under my eyes for last, and I'm going to do my eye makeup first. So I've picked some colors that I think are really pretty. They suit most people. Again, you can use whatever colors you'd like, or you might just want to use one color as opposed to a couple of different colors that I'll be doing today. So first things first, normally when I'm going to do a really simple look, I may use the Eye Prep Prime and Blend, which is the nude colored, creamy textured. It's almost like an eyeshadow slash concealer, so that it helps to get rid of any of the veins of the eyes. And I do think it's very important that you prepare the eyelid area so that it looks quite nude and quite neutral, so that the veins or any discoloration of the lid is not going to distort your eyeshadow look. So in this instance, however, I am going to apply the Peace Cream eyeshadow. One, because it is quite nude. Two, it's got a beautiful, very light, subtle shimmer, so the eyes look really healthy. And then I like to use loose over the top. So if you're wanting really intense eyes, you might want to just use the cream by themselves, or you might like to use cream eyeshadow underneath the loose mineral eyeshadows, which gives massive intensity to the eyes. So I'm going to use a combination of both today just to show you how you can do that. So applying the Peace Cream all over my eyes, and I am going to use the number 10 brush. So you can see that that's just given a little bit more of a nude appearance to this eye as opposed to this one. It's helped a little bit with the discoloration. So that's the piece. If you need more assistance with discoloration of the eyelid, definitely get the eye primer. Now, of course, the cream eyeshadows, especially when you're doing an all over wash, I call a lash to brow a wash, you could definitely use your fingers as well. Okay, so the next step to my look is what I would call my classic eye, and I am fairly experienced that I can usually just put whatever the color is straight onto my brow bone. But for those of you that are struggling on where to put your eyeshadows, this is a really handy tip. It's also a really great way of getting, again, your eyeshadow that's loose to be quite intense. So I'm going to use the Copper Eye Crayon today, and I'm actually going to draw on the C area that I would like to apply the darker color or the loose eyeshadow next. This just gives you a really good indication of where to place the eyeshadow rather than just doing it free-handed. Sometimes people can get a little bit nervous and also end up placing it too high or not high enough. So this is a really good way of measuring out. It's almost a bit like paint by number, so that you know that your eyeshadow is going to be placed in the right spot for you. So basically, the edge of your eye here, if you just sort of give a little bit of a run, don't touch the skin, but just run the tip of your pencil up towards your brow and just place it about half a centimetre below the brow line, okay? What this does is helps you from applying your eyeshadow too far down and giving yourself sad puppy dog eyes. We really want the focus of the eyeshadow to be up in this area, and it should never sit below the edge of the eye or your eyebrow, okay? So what we're going to do now is just draw a nice line going into the crease of the eye. Don't worry if the line's not particularly straight, because we'll be blending over the top. Now I'm going to blend into the crease with this copper. Now you could use any of the eye crayons for this look. Again, doing this just helps with your eyeshadow placement, but it also helps with the intensity of the eyeshadow color that you use. Using a loose product over the top of a cream will always increase the coverage and the intensity. So it's a little bit like using a cream or a liquid foundation and then applying your loose minerals over the top. Much more intense coverage by using both together. So now I'm applying this down into the crease. Always apply more than what you want to end up with, because once you start blending, this is going to halve in intensity. So always apply more, and then you will blend away most of this anyway. Now I'm just coming in a downwards fashion towards the edge of my eye. So what I've done is created a little C. Now you might just want to draw that on, you might want to apply your eyeshadow straight away. These are just tips to help those of you that are struggling with your placement. And I find by doing it, popping this dot on first, it's very difficult to make a mistake, because you're having to keep everything in line. See how everything now is in line with the edge of my eye here. Okay, now I'm going to blend this a little bit, but not too much, because I'm going to spend most of the time blending the eyeshadow over the top. Okay, so just enough to get this to adhere to the skin. And again, this might be enough just for you just to use the crayon on its own. Okay, again, not spending too much time blending it, because now I'm going to apply the eyeshadow over the top. Now, the eyeshadow that I'm going to use is the really beautiful Rose Quartz. You might like to use the Russet Rose or any of the new Rose eyeshadows over the top of the copper that I've just used, or if you don't have the copper crayon, you might like to use the Compassion Cream eyeshadow color, and you could draw that on with one of your angle brushes. At this stage, all I'm trying to do is to create intensity, and then when I move on to my second and third color, that's what I will use to blend away any of these defined lines that you can see, because we don't want that. We want a really nice graduation, beautifully blended eye. But at this point, I'm still concentrating on the intensity of the color. Now I've just curved this more so it wasn't so straight. I'm just creating a nice curve, and you can see I'm just following that natural arch of my brow. Okay, I'm really happy with the intensity of this now. Of course, I'm not happy with how it's blended, but this is where using a second or a third color comes into play, because then it will self-blend, overlaying lighter colors onto the darker colors. If you're happy just to use this particular color on its own, then I would grab your trusty spare clean brush that I always tell you to have. My favorite for this particular one is the number 4 brush. It's super tall, and the bristles are a little bit looser and less compact. So what that means is you're going to be able to get and blend away the edge of this eyeshadow without impacting the color here. So this is a really good one to have no matter what you're doing, but you could stop this look right now and then just tickle away the edges of that. Okay, so what I'm going to apply now, just for a little bit of Christmas festive spirit. Now, this might not be for everybody. You could do a purple, or you could do, so like you could use the lime, which I'm about to show you. Pink pearl would be another really pretty color to pop here. But just for a little bit of something different, I'm going to show you what I call a little bit of a cat's eye. So if you want to introduce one of your brights colors into this look, any of the colors would suit, and it's just a tiny little bit in line with your pupil almost. So it's just a little bit in the, so you're just covering almost the ball of your eye. So if you're looking at this color, it looks quite scary, but once you pop it on, it's not so bad at all. It's actually quite pretty. Again, we'll blend this away in a moment, but let's just get the color on. So this is a good way of using what I would call a complementary color to something. So if you've got a splash of purple or a splash of lime or a bit of orange in your clothes, you could definitely introduce that color into your eyes without it being the whole eye and it being quite intense or feeling like a disco ball. So this cat's eye is just putting a little bit of that color in the middle there, okay? So now what I'm going to do is come back to my big blending brush, and I'm just going to gently blend backwards into the eyeshadow because I want to get rid of all of this edging here. And now what I want to do is get rid of this top line. When you get to blending the top area, I do recommend blending inwards, because if you blend outwards, you will be blending down, and that's going to give you that puppy dog's droopy eye look. So we want to blend inwards to avoid that. Perfect. I'm really happy with how that's blended well together. Again, what I might do is now, just to really intensify this, just put a little bit of a dark chocolate just in the crease of my eyes here, and then I'll move on to eyeliner. So the color that I'm going to use is the Quartz, okay, so that's quite a dark chocolate. You might like to use one of the brow dust colors if you've got that. That would be completely fine as well. What I recommend is that you use a dome brush for this. So whether it's the 7-piece brush kit that's got a good dome brush in it, or you might like to use one of the shorter dome brushes, like number 8 in the 15-piece brush kit as well. Okay, tiny little bit on the brush. Okay, so happy with how that's all blended, but I'm going to just come back to my clean brush again and just gently sweep over the top just to get it looking seamless. Perfect. Okay, so now you might be feeling a little bit weird because you don't have your makeup on your face, or your eyes still look quite dark, but just bear with it because it is a little bit different doing your eyes first, but once it all comes together, it will look beautiful. Okay, so eyeliner. Now, depending on what eyeliner you've got, you might want to use the black or the brown. If you're really wanting to intensify it, then the black. And of course, if you just want this softer look, then I would opt for the brown pencil. I myself might try the black with this particular look just to make it look more intense. Now, if you're not comfortable with doing a fine line or a skinny eyeliner, definitely grab the Onyx or the Smoky Quartz in the chubby crayons, okay? You can just concentrate on popping that little bit of line on the outer corner just to give the eyelashes a lift and give the intensity or the look of more eyelashes. So if skinny eyeliner is not your thing, then definitely use one of the chubby crayons, okay? You can also just apply this under the lash line to give more intensity or the look of more lashes as well. Okay, so I really like to combine my eyeliner, whether it is the chubby crayon or one of the skinny eyeliners, with the liquid eyeliner when I'm going out. Again, this is just extra steps. You don't need to do it, but for me, just to give a little bit more intensity and the look of more lashes, you could use the brown and then use the black liquid eyeliner, and you just really pop this very tightly along the lash line. Okay, you don't need to worry about trying to do a great cat's eye with this. It just intensifies the lashes if you do both together. So make sure the tip is quite straight, get any excess off, and again, just pop this along the lash line. I find doing this technique is best if you keep your eyes open, because you can use this and I'm just almost placing it along the lash line rather than running it across. Now it does dry quite quickly, this product, because it is water resistant. So you need to work quite quickly, or at least be dipping more frequently. Just getting any excess off to make sure the tip is nice and sharp looking. Now, if you'd like to do a little bit of a winged look, again, just pop the liquid eyeliner or your pencil right in the corner of your eye and flick up. Just start with a small little flick to start with. So corner of your eye, right almost in your eye, and just start with a little flick. Okay, perfect. Now, if you want to get a little bit more adventurous, you can definitely dramatize the eye a little bit further just by extending on this flick. So I'm just trying to show you it in stages so that you can see where you can stop and where you can add more, where your comfort level is, okay? So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea. Again, I used 2 eyeliners for this particular look, more because I got the nice black smudgy look from the skinnier pencil, and then I've just used the liquid liner right tight on the lash line. Sometimes doing that too just gives you a little bit of guidance because you've already got that eyeliner underneath, and if you have mucked up that line, obviously your pencil is a lot easier to correct with a cotton tip or a brush. Once you start using liquid liners, they're very, very difficult to remove, and you almost need to start again. So if you want to try liquid eyeliner, get your eyeliner on first using the liquid or the chubby liner, because once you've got that in the right spot, it's very easy to overlay it with this. Okay, so now that I'm really happy with my eyes, I am now going to finish off the rest of my face and the underneath of my eyes. Okay, so what I'm going to do is now look at the liquid illuminizer. You don't really need a lot of this product. Again, I do sometimes use this just as a foundation, but you might just want to, if you've got really good skin, you might want to just use this as the foundation. But for this look, I am going to be using it more just to give the dewiness for the face. Okay, so just very gently buff that in with the kabuki. If you're quite crepey under the eyes, just mist the luminescence or the luminizer around the underneath of the eye, because any shimmer will make that look more so. So you can see that's given a nice glow. You might also want to pop a little bit of that down the neck as well, or even on the décolletage. The liquid illuminizer looks beautiful. All right, so for this particular look, I am going to use our liquid foundation in the medium olive. Now you might want to really ramp this up and use the cream foundation. You can definitely use that, or you might want to use the loose minerals just to tone the look down a bit. It really just depends. But I'm going to be using the liquid, and then I'm going to do a light dusting of the loose minerals over the top. Both the foundations, both give coverage. So of course at the end of this look, I'm going to be quite flawless and camera ready. All right, so with this particular foundation, I like to use the kabuki brush to apply it with, as I find it gives the most flawless finish. One pump, and now I'm using one pump for this cheek. And you can see the liquid foundation has really just toned the redness down of this little bite I've got on my face. Do put your foundation down your neck, because your neck is so much lighter than your chest and your face, because your beautiful chin or jawline has usually acted as a roof and has therefore protected the neck from getting as dark. So you do need to put a bit of foundation down the neck. The beauty with the Adorn products are that they are water resistant and sweat resistant, and of course that means they're not as likely to come off on the clothes. They're not necessarily not going to, but much less likely. So definitely popping this on your neck. One more pump for the forehead. Just a little bit on the eyes. Now, if you're wearing your hair up, please pop it behind your ears, and even just a little bit over the top of the ears as well. Okay, so we're done. That was the medium olive in the liquid foundation. And now I'm just gonna do a very light conceal underneath the eye. And of course, I'm going to use the Peachy Sleep Concealer. The Peachy Sleep Concealer is a corrective concealer, so that apricot tone to it does help combat that black look to the eyes. Now, if you are someone who has a darker skin, then you might need to use one of the darker concealers that we have, so medium tan or even medium olive. And especially if you've got lighter skin, but maybe you've got quite puffy or a lot of excess skin, or maybe your eyes are significantly lighter than your face, then you might like to use the medium tan or the medium olive, because when you use products that are a little bit darker, things will look smaller. So the Peachy Sleep is awesome. It's a beautiful product, but it does suit people who more have flat skin that's quite dark and you are a lighter skin type. Place it in the corner of the eye there, and just blending down and out. And you can see, look at that. Bags be gone, ladies. Perfect. A little tip with concealer is not to apply it too close to the lash line, because we'd all like to have a smile throughout the day, and of course concealer can grab into our happy lines. So what I like to do is just to apply the concealer right onto where the dark circle is, so the application is there, and then I blend it down slightly onto the cheekbone, and then I blend it with a clean finger up to the lash line. So minimal amount of concealer is getting into this area here. Okay, now another little tip. I have quite open pores around my nose, and so for me, I don't like to see those, so I like to conceal them. And how I do that is just by popping a color that's a little bit darker, so either the medium olive, so I don't use any of the lighter concealers, so I definitely won't use Peachy Sleep, and I definitely wouldn't use a light concealer. So whenever you're trying to hide something, you need to remember darker hides things, hence why we wear black. Light things make things look bigger. So if you're trying to hide something that is large pores, a large pimple, always use the same as your foundation, or even just ever so slightly darker. So in this instance, of course, I'm just using the medium olive just to help hide a couple of these large pores on my nose and around my nose. And also this part of my nose is quite obvious, so I do like to conceal there because we're quite veiny in the nose there. And as much as we can't see it, other people can. You can, so popping a bit of concealer there. And again, because this is a nasty little bite that's slightly raised, you can see how that's just disappeared with that medium olive concealer. Now, if I was to put a light concealer on that, it would have gone more pink and it would have been more obvious. Okay, so concealing's done, and you might be asking, why did you conceal after the foundation? It's simply because when you put your concealer on first, you're wiping it off with your brush or your fingers when you apply the foundation, or you're spreading it. Concealer is supposed to be quite concentrated to help hide whatever the flaw is. So it's much better and much more effective if you apply it after your foundation. So I am now going to put the amazing pigment blend on. Again, one of my favorite products, and because I want this to be quite concentrated as it's an event, and what I mean by that is I want a bit of structure for my face, I'm going to use the blush bronzer brush. Okay, so it's a small little compact brush rather than a brush that is like this and it's quite long and the bristles obviously have more flexibility. We don't want that unless you want light coverage. So if you want intense coverage and you want to have more of a chiseled contoured face, opt for a brush that has a shorter, more dense bristle. Okay, so this is the beautiful pigment blend, and I'm going to pop this around my hairline to give warmth, and underneath the jaw, underneath the cheekbone, and then along the jawline. So the number 3 method that I teach to give warmth to the face, structure to the face, and also of course help to eliminate any of the pigment damage that you might have in those areas. Now, I like to use the little bit that would be left on the brush now, just to gently blend over the whole face so it's not too structured, but I'm not losing the intensity of where I've applied it. It's just a light dust in the center of the forehead, over the temples, gently over the cheekbones, a little bit over the mouth area, and a little bit over the nose. So I've just used what was left on the brush to bring that contour or that warmth all together. Looking with just a foundation is quite more makeup looking than it is if you add that extra step in with the warmth of using a bronzer or something like that. Okay, so now you might want to pop this down the neck. Again, the neck's usually lighter than the rest of the body, so just pop a little bit of the pigment blend. You might have a really favorite bronzer that you would like to do this with. That's fine too. Use the bronzer. It is not a problem at all. Anything that's got a slight sort of a brown tone to it is completely fine. All right, so now I'm going to pop on blush. Now, I love wearing two blush colors. I just think it is so much more natural to do that rather than just putting one blush color on. Again, you can do that. There's no right or wrong, whatever you find suits you, but I love wearing two blush colors. So what I like to do is pop on the Cream Spring. And what I do, this is my base blush, I just pop it onto that part of my hand. So just underneath the thumb. And just put on quite a bit and then rub it onto both hands. And just starting from the edge of your eye, middle of your nose, press this around. Just feel the roundness of your cheekbone and just apply it in that direction, right up into the temples. Now this technique will make you look like your face has a beautiful natural lift to it because you've graduated your blush color up to the temples. But you can only do this with your more neutral, natural colors. Your pops of color just need to stay here. Perfect. Now I'm going to pop on the Summer Cream Blush as my pop of color. Looks so bright, but it's so pretty when it's on. So just again, a little bit on the apples of the cheeks, and a tiny bit goes a long way. I just love how all of the products, you can use your fingers, you can use brushes, it really doesn't matter as long as your fingers or your brushes are clean so that you're continuing, you know, good skin care as well. Okay, I'm super happy with that. I think that's really, really pretty combination. So that's the Spring Cream Blush as well as the Summer together. Now that I've got my skin done, my eyes don't look so weird. It is a little bit strange to get used to doing that when you're not used to doing your eyes first. Often we do them last, but I think you'll find by doing this, you've not wasted time cleaning up underneath the eyes. Okay, so now I'm going to finish with the skin with the loose mineral illuminizer. The liquid illuminizer that I first put on gives a dewiness and a radiance to the skin. Now I'm going to use the loose mineral highlighter so that I can highlight parts of my face to look bigger, and that is areas like the cheekbones, maybe your lips as well. So I like to use this particular angle brush, and it is the number 3 in the 15-piece brush kit. Again, you just put a tiny little bit on, blend it onto the lid, and I like to pop it in the temples. We can get a little bit sunken looking there as we get older, so a little bit of a luminescence there is great. And then onto the cheekbones. Okay, a little trick that I like to use is by popping the illuminizer onto the top of my Cupid's bow. Okay, and you can just do that with a finger, and what that does is gives the look of a bigger pout. I then like to put this in the middle of my mouth as well. So that once I put my lipstick on, this center part of my mouth will always stay a little bit lighter. So again, when things look lighter, they look bigger. So if you just concentrate on this central part of the mouth, it'll give a slightly bigger pout to your lipstick or your gloss. Okay, so now that I'm finished with the skin, let's completely finish the lips. All right, so I'm gonna actually show you a really nice nude look because my eyes are quite intense. I've got beautiful looking soft cheeks. I'm now going to do a nude look on the mouth. So this is kind of like an ombre look that I really love, and it's using 2 lipstick colors. So I'm going to use Natural Pink and the new Twiggy lipstick. So we've got Natural Pink, and we've got the new Twiggy Nude. So this is an ombre lip. You don't have to do this. You could do one or the other over the illuminizer, but let's have a bit of fun. It's event time. We haven't been able to get out, so let's have a play. Natural Pink. Now you'll notice with the Natural Pink, all I've done is focused on the outer part of my mouth. So I haven't put the Natural Pink in the pout area because I want my pout to look bigger, and that's what this ombre look will do. So now I'm grabbing the Twiggy and I'm going to pop that in the middle of my lips. Perfect. Now I'm going to just tone the illuminizer down a little bit. And just use my fingers or a lip brush or something just to blend that in. So you can still see it's slightly pinker on the outside, but it's more nude on the inside. And then I love finishing this off with one of the pinks. So you could go with Amal, you could go with Bridget, you could go with Diana. And in fact, I'm going to use the Diana for this particular look. So just popping it in the pout. The Diana's a really nice pinky nude. Okay, so there's my ombre lips. Again, once you've put all of those colors and you've pulled them all together, they look really beautiful. Your eyes are still the focus rather than having intensity around the mouth as well. Now, if you wanted to, you could finish this look off by just putting a little bit of a dark eyeliner, or I prefer an eyeshadow or a brow dust or something like that. It's less harsh and it's obviously a little bit easier to apply. Or you could just leave it completely like this. So for me, I'm going to use the rose quartz just underneath my eye using an angle brush. Again, wet or dry, completely up to you. Just gives a bit more drama. Love it. Okay. Now, while we're here having a bit of fun, and before we move on to eyelashes, I'm going to show you just a little technique that you can use to give the illusion of extra lashes on the end. All right, so basically what we can start with is, again, either get one of your skinny eyeliners or use an angle brush that you've dipped into a really dark eyeshadow. That could be what you would use for this little extra technique. So if you're not someone who's comfortable with the liquid eyeliner, definitely grab a wet angle brush, dip it into an eyeshadow like quartz to do this. All right, so just adds an extra bit of drama if you want to have a play, and it's something I love doing. So what I like to do is just, again, on the underneath the corner of my eye, I just like to do a very slight little extra line. So it looks like I've got cute little extra lashes there, especially if you don't have many lashes, ladies. If you could master this. It's not easy to do. It's sometimes I just have to start again myself. So have a bit of a play, maybe doing this on a day that you're not actually going to be needing your eyes to look amazing, have a play at home, because you need these two lines to be really close together and you don't want them to be too thick. Okay, perfect. So you can just see very subtly there's that extra little line under each side. Now one side's always going to be your favorite side over the other, which is, you can tell which is my good side. Okay, so there we go, a little extra bit of drama to your eyes if you want to. Let's just wait for that to dry a little bit, and then I'm going to curl my lashes, prime them of course, and then add mascara. Now for this, I do like to use black mascara, simply because I'm going out, I want a little bit more drama. I don't want it to be as soft by using the brown. So let's curl the lashes. Perfect, so there we go. A little bit of lash primer on to lengthen and thicken. I tend to just pop the primer more so on the outer lashes. Don't forget to put your mascara on, ladies. Let that sit for a couple of minutes. You might even want to finish your mascara first while you're doing your lips. That's also another option. So you just give the lash primer a moment or two to dry. Okay, so now I'm going to pop on the waterproof black mascara. There might be a bit of crying. I don't know. There could be something. So normally I use the organic lashes, but for this I'm going to use, there could be some happy tears at some events. So let's go with some waterproof or water resistant mascara. Now you might want to put a bit of mascara on your bottom lashes or not. If you're someone who has weepy eyes or makeup doesn't stay put, the waterproof mascara of course is going to not do that like a normal mascara would. But again, if you don't have many lashes, it's probably not worth accentuating the fact that you don't have many lashes by adding mascara. It is much nicer if you just put a little bit of this softer eyeshadow or a brow dust under the eyes than bothering with the mascara underneath the lashes. I always like to finish my mascara off by using it like a pencil and using that little bit that's on the very, very end, tickling the outer lashes just to give the illusion of longer lashes. That way I'm not adding and loading up more and more mascara, making the eyelashes super heavy where they're then going to start to droop down. So get your 2 coats on, ladies. I would probably only do maybe 1 sort of coat in here. Because we want most of the volume to be on the outer lashes. So again, then just turning the brush around so that it's facing you like a pencil and then tickling these outer lashes to get the extra length. Okay, so now all we need to do is get our hair sorted and we are good to go. So I hope you have enjoyed my event makeup tutorial. Again, just take as much of it as you want. Do all of it if you want. Have a little bit of fun. Use the colors that you're comfortable with. Remember, all of our products are quite multi-purpose. So, you know, you may have a really beautiful blush that you'd like to try this look with for eyeshadow. You might like your lipstick that you might want to use as your cream blush. Really, it's up to your imagination. If you're wanting more thorough tutorials on how to do your brows, how to do eyeliner, all these individual steps that I've taken, head over to the tutorial page and you'll be able to see those individually. And of course, remember to practice your looks a few days before you need to go out so that you can master it. You're not going to get this in one go. It is simpler if you do practice this each day. So thank you so much for your time. I would love to know what little golden nuggets you took out of this tutorial, and please head over to the Adorna private community group and show me your event makeup. I would love that. Thank you.